Hello again. Well, I'm back in the beautiful county of Suffolk, and this is Pottsford Wood, where there is a tangible reminder of a brutal 17th century murder. Pottsford Wood is situated just outside the village of Wickham Market, and this public bridleway through the woods leads to a grisly relic of the past. Pottsford Wood is said to be a very haunted place, possibly because of what I'm about to show you. This weather-beaten stump is all that remains of the Potsford Gibbet. Now, a gibbet is a place where the bodies of executed criminals were hung up to rot publicly as a warning to those tempted by a life of crime. Now, not much is known about the Potsford Gibbet, but it is said that a number of hangings took place here. It reads on the post, "Remains of Potsford Gibbet in use at the end of the 17th century. Last known hanging April 14th, 1699, Jonas Snell." Now, that's a little misleading because he wasn't executed here. This is where his body was hung in chains. Now, on February the 10th, 1698, Jonas Snell made his way to the nearby Leatheringham Watermill, where he brutally murdered his employer, John Bullard, and his son by bludgeoning them to death with an axe. And then, like slaughtered hogs, he hung their butchered bodies upside down from a beam in the mill. As you can imagine, the discovery of the brutal murders sent a shockwave through the small rural community. And shortly afterwards, Jonas Snell was found wandering around the area, covered in his victim's blood and still clutching the dripping axe. He was arrested and tried at Wickham Market Sessions Court, where he offered no defence. Snell was found guilty of cold-blooded murder and he was sentenced to hang. Now, although it was said that Jonas Snell was first hanged in Pottsford Wood and then his body was left to rot on the gibbet, local historian Gwen Dyke says he was almost certainly hanged in Wickham Market, and this hill just outside the village is the most likely place of his execution. Now I'm looking for a distinctive mound which is said to be where the hanging took place. I think this must be it. Now, from what I've read, this is known as Gallows Hill, and there's a strong possibility that this is where Jonas Snell was hanged. Now, legend has it that Snell's body was taken from here and dragged up the hill to Potsford Wood, along what is now the B1078 Wickham to Charlesfield Road, and thereafterwards the hill became known locally as Dragars Hill, and it's still called that on the local tourist maps. However, it is more likely that the name was given by those who dragged themselves up the hill with heavy loads on their way to market. Okay, according to the story, Jonas Snell's body was dragged along here through the woods to be hung on the gibbet. Now, with such a grisly history, it's not surprising that Pottsford Woods are said to be very haunted indeed. Over the years, people have seen a mysterious figure in a long black cloak follow them along this path. Perhaps the earliest account of something strange here was this darkly amusing tale recorded in an issue of the East Anglian Miscellany magazine in 1740. James Gall a tailor from Wickham Market, passed the gibbet on his way to work one morning, and he remarked to the skeleton hanging on the gibbet, "Ah, old fellow, it would be a strange thing if thou were to come down from there." Returning at dusk, he was shocked to see that the skeleton on the gibbet had vanished along with its chains. He quickened his pace, and he heard behind him the faint rattling of chains. The noise grew louder and louder. In a panic, he broke into a run, and he didn't stop until he got home and slammed the front door shut, and there he fell into a faint of terror. However, his wife solved the mystery of the rattling ghost. When she went through his pockets, she found a bunch of keys, various coins, a knife, and metal tape. And as for the disappearing skeleton, well, it had been cut down and disposed of that very day. And now we're back at the allegedly haunted Potsford Gibbet. After rotting on the gibbet for 41 years, what remained of Jonas Snell was cut down and buried somewhere in these woods. And according to local superstition, there used to be a boulder at the foot of the gibbet post that screamed when you kicked it. Now the boulder is no longer there, but it might have marked the place of Jonas Snell's burial. Eventually the gibbet post fell down, and it was forgotten for many, many years. But during the 1950s, the remains of the post was found by workers clearing the undergrowth. So fortunately, this grisly relic was saved. As I stand here alone, I'm reminded of the story of a passing lorry driver who stopped to stretch his legs in the woods. He paused at the gibbet to read the plaque, and he felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned and was confronted by a skeletal face shrouded in a black hood. He ran, screaming in terror, back to his cab and vowed never to return to Pottsford Wood. The same apparition was seen by a local gamekeeper, and in the 1990s a couple claimed to have heard clanking chains at the site of the gibbet, and they saw a black, shapeless thing staring at them through the trees. Okay, I'm leaving Pottsford Wood. I haven't encountered any ghosts, but I was startled by a deer that jumped out on the path in front of me. We gave each other a really good scare. Now, before I end the video, I want to visit Leatheringham Watermill, the scene of the brutal murder. This is Leatheringham Watermill, where Jonas Snell brutally murdered miller John Bullard and his son. The mill of the murder was destroyed by fire. This present structure dates from 1802, and it's been converted into luxury holiday flats. However, to this day, it is said to be haunted by the ghosts of the murdered men. And because of the mill's grisly history, murder weekends are regularly held here. Well, that was the grisly tale of the Potsford Gibbet. As usual, if you have made it this far, then thank you very much, and please join me again next time.